not as likely to come in here. This is a big matchup for both of these teams. Again, Afreeca has had a much easier road. T1 really need to get this win. So we'll see how things really start off here. As Set is banned away, Varus taken immediately off the table. And honestly, I mean, I'm a very big fan of just banning Varus and Ezreal on red side, as Aphelios is beatable. But we'll see how it ends up unfolding. Yuumi taken off the table by Afreeca. T1 banning away the Kalista. And this means that Ezreal and Aphelios are both up at this point in time.
We've seen sometimes teams on blue ban out Aphelios if they don't want to go and feel forced into picking that pick, but Afreeca is not one of them because they do have Mystic, who loves his Aphelios, and they're going to go ahead and ban away TF here, who has risen in popularity here in summer.
We'll see what T1's poison is going to be. Hopefully... I was going to say hopefully Ezreal, but Trundle as a ban away when you're red side is so peculiar to me, because Trundle's a counter pick champion thematically, and so you can draft in a way that doesn't allow him to be picked.
True, but these Korean teams have been prioritizing him so much.
So Aphelios comes in B1, and now T1 can basically layer Afreeca in the draft phase and basically just constantly pick champions that outrange him, disengage, and play from afar. And we've talked about this the last couple of days here on the broadcast. I've been very vocal about it on other mediums as well. And some people, their initial reaction to that is, well, it's still not cool that Aphelios demands this kind of approach. And I'm thinking, well, it's really cool to win. So, I mean,
feels pretty good.
I think winning is pretty cool. I'm not sure about you. So, what ends up happening is, because Afreeca shows their hand first, T1 responds to neutering Aphelios, and if Afreeca tries to then respond to neutering what T1's doing, it doesn't matter because the Aphelios is now an anchor that is dragging them down.
Yeah.
And you just keep doing the layering process, and eventually red team will win out at the end, thematically, because you're missing a core component. So, T1 with the Ezreal Karma. It is one of my favorite R1, R2s that I look forward to seeing in competitive. And I think that, obviously, what they're going for is the long-range control. Karma, very flexible.
Yep.
Able to go into lots of different avenues. Nidalee coming in so early is very surprising. She doesn't know the matchup that she's going into yet. These are two very hard targets to hit as well. And Nautilus coming in for Afreeca, and now Lee Sin into Aphelios. Doesn't also have a kick target on Nautilus. It's very hard for Lee Sin to find his way in, especially when he comes in so early. So I feel like this is just a massive draft blunder.
Yeah.
Because Nautilus and Aphelios, they both say thank you, is all that's happening. And in terms of a vacuum matchup, Lee Sin versus Nidalee, Nidalee doesn't really care all that much. Jace now gonna be taken away.
Korean teams love their Lee Sin. They love the ability to pick single targets, but, you know, ideally, you can look at it and say it the way I just said it, but when we actually get into the game, we see a lot of the times that it does fall flat, and that's part of the reason why we've lost a little faith in Lee Sin as a champion, and also, thematically, with the comps, he's not too happy, so we'll see if Cuzz can pull it off, essentially.
I think at this point, R4 Orianna is one of the best options T1 could maybe go with. Alternatively, Karma, she does retain her ability to go mid-top or support. So maybe they'll just put Karma in mid lane.
Grab a Bard.
You could try to grab another support that outranges everything that Afreeca's doing.
Yeah.
Bard, a little bit awkward because his ultimate doesn't have a whole lot of follow-up. And Leona being hovered, and Aphelios just continues to scream thank you. As...
Started well, and now we're kind of
Orianna
dipping off.
R5 is still an option, because you have synergy with Leona and Lee Sin. And Orianna, very good against Aphelios. Has a lot of long range with the Ezreal. But the way that it's standing, the theme that was opened by T1, R1, R2 with Karma Ezreal has now pivoted into an engagey nature.
Ooh.
And
Urgot returns.
This leaves a lot of wonder, I guess, going on here. Urgot coming in blind.
Yeah, the Urgot.
Yeah.
He had a great game. We saw it once, I think a couple of days ago, or last week, maybe on Sunday. And it did look good.
I mean, I really like that the Urgot, it's another target Lee Sin can't kick. And against Leona, he says thank you for a Fear Beyond Death target.
Yeah.
So, I feel like Afreeca, barring the Nidalee pick, have drafted in response to what T1's been trying to do pretty reasonably. What is the Aatrox?
I knew that reaction wasn't going to be great. As Aatrox is locked in. And LS is unhappy. Just another great target that will be... It's going to be difficult for him to hop onto the Aphelios. And now the Aphelios has a lot of protectors to get in the way at the same time. You have the Urgot, the Nautilus. And Aatrox is not going to have a free in through them. So... They'll never win a straight-up team fight. They will never... There is 3 Fear Beyond Death targets. There is no way for Lee Sin to get onto any of those champions. Urgot can stop Lee Sin. Zoe will put him to sleep. Nautilus is going to lock him up. Aphelios is going to say thanks. Yeah, you're dead.
Aatrox is on red side, so the fact that Afreeca is on blue means it's so much easier also to turtle later stage team fights in their blue side jungle, all inside of narrow corridors, which really helps Aphelios and Urgot. So, even Zoe to an extent. Now, the one thing T1 does have going for them is they have Karma in mid lane. So, Karma with the Lee Sin, the responsibility is on them to somehow find a way to get ahead early. Urgot versus Aatrox, this is a very old matchup. This was honestly one of the bread and butters to top lane. It is Urgot favored. So, or historically, historically it was Urgot favored even when Aatrox was busted. Aatrox has been brought down a peg, as did Urgot a little bit. But I'm curious to see how it's going to actually play out.
Yeah, just in the 1v1 will be interesting to see. But again, it's going to have grander effects on the entire game. I feel like Urgot is just going to be a million times more effective in team fights, as seems like we have a little bit of a toilet issue, actually. We got one of the players had to run to the bathroom quickly, so we'll be right back. We're not going anywhere, but the player will. And, yeah, I don't know. I mean, T1 started off great on their draft. You know, you were talking about R1, R2. And then they saw the Nidalee Nautilus, and somehow that, like, broke their brains. And everything kind of went downhill after that.
So I want to take this opportunity to really dive into the meat of it more, because I feel like it's something that we don't get to spend a whole lot of time on during the draft because of the speed at which it goes, and then once the game gets in, you can talk about team compositions. So Aphelios, even if you ask pro AD carry players how they feel when they're playing against Orianna, Syndra, Azir, any champions that outrange them, Ezreal in mid to late game when he gets his 3-4 items, they will tell you that they hate their lives. They don't have a lot of fun. You can find so many games where the Aphelios' damage and their DPS very, very low because they can't actually interact with their opponents. Even though Aphelios has this really cool kit and he has 200 years, it doesn't matter when the opponents just don't let you ever interact. So when Afreeca opens B1, T1 responds Karma Ezreal, which is really reasonable. Karma, multi-role flex, able to go mid, top, and support. Ezreal does beat out Aphelios in the later stages of the game, outranges them, and is also an S tier 80 carry. And so Aphelios has a little bit of an edge early on. This is fine. Passes back over to Afreeca. They end up going for Nautilus on B2 along with Nidalee. So the Nidalee comes in blind, and now you know the Nautilus is trying to engage. And because they're trying to engage with Nautilus and Aphelios, and the Nidalee is trying to poke, they're already sort of off theme if you just keep drafting in a way that allows you to dodge around the Nidalee and refuse to let the opponents engage with some sort of a protection.
Yeah. What would have been your R3 pick, do you think? Like, what would be a better option compared to the Lee Sin?
I mean, you can just go Graves at that point, and it's fine. Smokescreen, really, really powerful.
Has a decent amount of burst and poke himself.
He has insane clear speed.
Yeah.
You don't need anything super fantastic, and then Graves opens up a lot of options because if you go for an AP top lane with Karma in mid lane, Graves is going to hit like a truck. He's going to have pure lethality, which means that the meta build on like Nidalee, going for the Rod of Ages, she doesn't get the armor until the later stages. Graves is just going to hit like a truck. He can also threaten to one-shot Aphelios. And if they keep doing this hard engage, Graves is really good at that. He's good at mitigating these types of problems. So there's more options than just Graves that's going to exist in the jungle there. Or alternatively, you could just show where Karma's going to end up going. You could choose your support there. And then you move into the ban phase, and things would end up being fine because the opponents already showed a very committed theme to their comp that is really hard to pivot out of before B5.
Yeah. It seems like T1 kind of took a very different approach. They said, oh, okay, you have another squishy. There's the Nautilus, but instead of trying to outrange you and go along with what we've already picked, let's go for stuff that can pick Aphelios / Nidalee and hopefully eliminate one target immediately. At least that's my read on what they're thinking, you know, whether, regardless of if it was the right thing to do. And so they go Lee Sin, Leona, Aatrox, all stuff that can, you know, get into your back line, stun down a squishy target, and hopefully open up that burst. But we'll see how it does work out here in this game. We've seen that many times the comps that run into the Aphelios generally lose. And especially now it's not even only Aphelios. I feel like Afreeca saw what T1 were going for, and they bolstered their kind of composition around Aphelios, picking up the Urgot for extra protection. And he's so great at, you know, taking that tank who's in the front line and the perfect Fear Beyond Death target and just opening up the team fights. He's so good at that. So that was like the biggest pick for me where I was a big fan, actually, the Urgot here, especially because we don't see him too often. So again, has kind of practiced a lot against this kind of pick. Does T1 as a team know how to play against this kind of pick? It just it seemed very intelligent.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what does end up happening. It's going to be the Conqueror for Kiin, so it's not going to be the Spellbook sort of approach to Urgot. And again, just going into everything, T1, they only have Ezreal, especially if Karma's going to go for the supportive style of having the Athenes, the Ardent Censer, and then getting into Death Cap, whatnot. Maybe Faker will take a different approach and just actually go for the Ludens and go for the AP Glass Cannon. But Ezreal is a standalone poke against Nidalee and Zoe. I mean, Nidalee is just going to out-heal his poke, and then with the other 4 members sort of having a responsibility to engage, Afreeca are going to be really happy. So we're going to have to really pay attention to what Cuzz and Faker are going to manage to do in the early stages, because it's going to be all eyes on them in order to see what sort of things they can do with mid-jungle priority that we should assume that they reliably get, just given that it is Karma versus Zoe in mid. Especially with Teleport. Fly taking Ignite. Very, very surprising.
Yeah,
definitely a bit of a weird champ moment there.
We've seen a couple of times where mid laners try to take Ignite on picks usually that are, you know, like a LeBlanc or, I don't know, we saw Kiana one time. That makes a little bit more sense. This is a little bit interesting. The two junglers are going to run into each other. Cuzz going to get that damage down, but Cuzz is in their jungle, so he has to immediately evacuate. As well, taking a bit of damage there was Fly, actually seemed to lose the trade in that one. You saw that Spirit was level 4. He actually had a very fast clear timer. Faster than Cuzz. Cuzz actually skipping his Krugs. And there's a ward on that for now from the blue team.
Well, let's just take a look at how everything plays out after this, because now everyone knows Lee Sin's clear. Everyone's playing with map hack, and this hurts Lee a lot more than it does Nidalee, because again, the responsibility is on Lee Sin. He's pressured from level 1 with being said, you know, you have to do something. You need to get the ball rolling with your mid laner. And we'll see what ends up transpiring here. Now, Ben and Mystic, they keep piling up this wave. Now, we know that Nidalee is never venturing down here to bot lane. If we identify this wave as 1, and the incoming one is 2, they could insta-shove 2 and then just recall. And then they would end up pulling the wave, and Ezreal and Leona, they wouldn't actually be able to counter-shove fast enough, but you can just see they're being super reserved. With the speed at which they push this, they're never going to get turret plate chip damage. They're not really threatening anything. And so Ezreal, Teddy, and Effort, I mean, they're feeling happy.
Yeah. You saw that Effort actually picked up the minion dematerializer. It's, you see it every once in a while, these tank supports like it just to open up the free minion, essentially, but sometimes they're being pushed in, and it's not so easy. We saw that Effort took a little bit of pressure off of his lane that way, as Lee Sin just going to walk on a trap. Definitely awkward, as now he's being chased down by Fly. But just wanted to check the dragon, wanted to make sure he wasn't doing it. But
that is such a pretty Nidalee skin, by the way.
Yeah.
I always bring... Oh!
Not quite on point.
Really
Imagine if
close.
he had landed that with the Zoe follow-up. Could have been deadly, as a lot of skill shots are actually flying every which way.
And once again, what ends up happening is they see Lee Sin, they see 35 CS. You know exactly where he's going, yet again. So it's really hard for Cuzz to play when he keeps getting spotted like this, and the waves are the way that they are. And it seems like, I mean, Canna, he is getting shoved in here. We'll see how much CS he can eat, but I mean, this is absolutely result-based analysis. But I mean, it seems like the matchup isn't that different from how it used to be.
Feels pretty similar. I mean, you were talking about some nerfs to both sides. It's mainly just a numbers thing. But the way that the two champions interact isn't going to change too much after some of those nerfs. As Faker's going to be caught here, actually. See you later. Fear Beyond Death. That's going to be first blood already to Kiin in the top lane. And let me tell you guys, if you don't know Kiin, you don't want to feed this guy. Especially on a champion like Urgot. He's going to be having a lot of fun after picking up that first blood.
Well, I mean, it's already a 1,000 gold lead here for Afreeca. Oh, man.
Leona feels not so happy running into the Aphelios already. Tried to get a very aggressive trade under the turret, but they were just barely out of range. And so wasn't able to do much, especially because Ezreal wasn't able to get too much effective damage. As we're going to see how Faker got caught here.
So they see Faker going for the honey fruit. He's feeling a little bit hungry. He ends up getting
before the game.
put to sleep. And honestly, I mean, Kiin just casting the ultimate very early. Fear Beyond Death, put Faker into the grinder. And yeah, it's, you know, tasted like World Cone, I guess. Is what
Oh, no. Oh, boy. For you guys who don't know, Faker is
the face of the World Cone.
Yeah,
ice cream cones.
It's a great ice cream.
It is.
Actually,
it's really good.
It was my favorite ice cream when I first came to Korea.
Yep, same.
And I used to eat it actually a lot back when I was younger, and I didn't have to, you know, I could have it very often and not worry too much about the calories and stuff like that. But it's very delicious. So
it is.
Actually, it makes sense. And either way, I mean, we've seen Karma's kind of get caught mid lane in that exact fashion. So Faker is going to have to be a little bit careful, especially now that he doesn't have Flash. And we do have Cuzz now finally getting to work on that Ocean Drake, although there's a ton of pings onto it. So Afreeca absolutely no.
Yeah, and Teddy's in a very awkward spot. You can see the effort. Doesn't really know what he wants to do. I think they're just going to give it up, or I can't. Yeah, it looks like they're just going to give it up. So a little bit surprising. And Effort's just going to be allowed to walk back into the lane. Kiin now with the Phage and the Executioners here on Urgot. Spirit may be looking for something, but it seems like we're actually just content to play ping pong with all of the waves.
Yeah, I saw that Spirit was a little bit apprehensive to just run down towards the ward. He wanted to stay out of vision, so he waited until Ben went over, cleared the ward, and it is a fight for vision down on the bottom side that is going on here. Spirit considering going for this Rift Herald at 9.5 minutes, which could be actually considered a little bit late for the Korean region. They love their early Rift Heralds.
Well, seems like Afreeca, they're just looking to make something happen, but some really good wards by T1 is keeping tabs on everything. Meanwhile, Teddy just farming up his tier right now with his Sheen. And it seems like we have a rotation for the Herald, but this can get very, very scary. Effort's here as well, though.
Yeah, trying to get this 4v3 going, and he is on vision. Trying to poke the eye here. It's going to go down to 72, and just trying to steal that was a bit of a mistake as he goes down. And they're going to hand that one over to Cuzz, who now, against no jungler, should be feeling pretty happy.
Yeah, and I mean, that was just really surprising because they saw Effort literally walk right in. So I have no idea what Spirit was thinking. It's not the end of the world to just give over the Herald at that point in time, because everyone's feeling pretty good. You're ahead the First Blood and the First Blood assist, so you already have some gold under your belt in pretty key champions. And I mean, let's just take a look. They literally see Effort. What do you want me to say here, Valdez?
They just greeted for it because the eye was facing them, you know?
Unacceptable. This is like when you bring home the report card and you get a 99. And then they, you know, and then could have gotten 100?
Yeah. Big mistake. That report card.
You bring home a report card, you get 100 on it, and then your mom asks, was there extra credit? Was there 102?
Yeah, but Harvard still didn't accept you, so it doesn't matter. Feels bad, man. I'm sure everybody can relate. Very intelligent chat we got, of course. And, yeah, trying to get aggressive as T1 in the enemy jungle. Just going for a little bit of a walk, it seems, but not too much avail.
Ooh. Very, very close. As Aphelios setting up a turret. And I have no idea how that landed. That was cheating. What was that?
He has a very thin...
Oh!
Oh, he wasn't able to get over the wall. He's going to have to flash here, but he actually flashes north.
Yep.
Interesting. He didn't want to get rooted by Mystic, it appears. Maybe ulted and then rooted. He probably would have been followed up on.
Yeah.
So ends up being the more intelligent play. That one fell a little bit short.
And Fly picking up a heal for himself. More turret plates going down here in bottom. I mean, Teddy and Effort, they've done a pretty good job, though, to not hemorrhage any of the turret plates. Kiin playing very reserved. Somehow, Canna has a very big XP lead, and I'm not sure how this unfolded. I mean, okay, well, that's unfortunate. It must have just been because... Oh, I guess it's not that big, actually. Kiin has level 10. You know, I'm just going to stop talking. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of a lead, right? And that must have come from Kiin's roams, right? He went bottom side to pick up the First Blood, and then he also went there to get the flash from Faker on the follow-up. So, it does make sense, but it's not really that big of a lead. as you were eventually alluding to. And he's been one of the guys that's been creating most of the action in this game. We did have the 1 kill greeting for the Rift Herald steal, but other than that, it was Kiin active on the map.
Yep.
Don't see that all the time from top laners.
And the Infernal Dragon is coming up. Faker ends up getting the Scuttle Crab, so they'll have that advantage at it. The gold score is just neck and neck right now, though. Pretty much across the board, and this is pretty much expected, though, that T1 should be in a pretty good position early mid, and then start to really waver in the later stages. Not super unexpected. If they give away this Infernal Dragon, it definitely is a pretty big feels bad man moment. And, okay, well, Canna's ahead a wee bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, and it looks like actually, yeah, it's just going to be the Infernal given over for free to Afreeca, so...
Yeah, pushing mid, pushing bot. And they might actually get a decent engage here. Effort doesn't have flash right now. He's going to get knocked up.
Yeah.
Stopwatch will save him for just a small moment in time, but he gets sniped by Aphelios out of all people as Cuzz tries to kick to keep this one going. A decent amount of burst damage on the Spirit. But there we go. We got the Trouble Bubble onto the Ezreal, who has nothing. He's going to get bursted down immediately. And how about another kill to the Aphelios? Let's add on to the years. Why not? He is now 2-0.
Yeah, read his stat line.
Yeah.
He's got a 200 gold bounty. He's 2-0-0.
How is that even possible? Someone take a picture quick. Like, this doesn't happen. This only happens like once every 10 years or something. It's like a solar eclipse.
Like Pennywise. Oh, man.
It explains everything.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, just watch Lee Sin when he lands the Resonating Strike on Aphelios. It really just seals in the flavor here.
Yeah.
So he lands the Q and he's like, I'm not going in.
Like, actually, never mind. He kicks the Nautilus. Like, you get Cuzz in this fight. Like, what is
it's really hard to approach from this. And I mean, this is just unfortunate. Effort went over the wall. Really good response by Afreeca. They pick up themselves a couple of kills and they get the dragon.
Yeah.
It's really hard to play the fights. It's very... Lee Sin can't go in. That's the whole problem. You know, I don't know what is expected out of Cuzz. He actually has to really just outplay Afreeca so unreasonably. When you think about what he needs to do in order to make the champion actually effective in the team fights, it's pretty outrageous. And if he manages to do it, it's a testament to his own ability as a player.
Yeah. This is, he drafted himself into a corner, essentially. Not saying it was Cuzz's decision, but we're seeing it before our eyes. Exactly what you were talking about in the pick ban. The difficulty of Lee Sin into Aphelios, not to mention all of Aphelios' friends. And now that the Aphelios comp is getting ahead, they're just feeling better and better. I mean, you're looking at Ezreal, Karma, Aatrox, right? They're all kind of liking the mid-game, hitting about 2 items, right? But then eventually, I mean, the Aphelios is going to get out of control. The Urgot is going to be unkillable. And
the thing is
it's going to be out of control.
Aatrox and Lee Sin will never be able to follow up with Leona, because if Urgot gets his ultimate off in the fear, everyone's just useless in the team fight. So the problem for Karma is that she's going the supportive route with the Athene's first item, and following this up, Ezreal, it looks like he's going for Iceborne Gauntlet. There's not going to be a lot of damage, so how do you chew through the heals that Nidalee is going to offer? And then Urgot shields. It's going to be very, very hard. And to make matters worse, Afreeca, they rolled the best dragon they could hope for in the transition, which is the Mountain.
Wow. Imagine trying to chew through Nautilus Urgot with a couple, or even 3 Mountain Drakes, if they continue to
18% amp.
Keep it going with the snowball they've built.
Likewise, it's very big if T1 can actually get this away. So we'll see what ends up happening. I mean, that Drake is going to be do or die, and it's going to be really important to see if Teddy can actually have his Miramana online by that point. So we're going to have to see. The other thing is that Canna, with the Death Dance first, he will have access to the CDR. Oh, man. Effort having to flash away.
And he still might be in trouble. Has to blow his own ult to get out of harm's way.
And I don't think that... Oh, no.
Okay, now we got Lee Sin, who got slept up. And there it is, the pick and the burst that they have on these melee champions that can't even get close. It's sad to watch if you're a Lee Sin player. This is like a doomsday draft for you. Not feeling very good about it. And so, I mean, just like that, it seemed like nothing really was happening. Effort walks forward a little bit too much, and all of a sudden, the entire map is now being controlled by Afreeca.
Yeah, I mean, things just continue to get worse. You have Faker split pushing up in top lane. I mean, he is getting a lot of damage onto that turret, but Mountain Drake's going to go over to Afreeca, and Fly is about to fly up here into top lane, and Faker, if he gets tagged, he's dead. But it looks like Fly's not even going to actually... Oh, no.
Tried for it.
Yeah. I didn't quite see Zoe's armor before this, but definitely getting a little bit of value here. And the thing is that, remember, Ezreal does not build Pen.
Yeah.
So Mountain Drakes is something that he really, really hates because he just relies on base damage to really carry him through things. And he's the only one. Karma not going to be able to offer enough because in the team fights, she wants to be saving her R for her E. So she's not even going to have the mantra enhanced Q. Well, let's just take a look at this. Effort, I mean, I have no idea what he's doing there.
Hitbox.
He is by himself.
Yeah.
Lee Sin is 3,000 range to the north. And Solar Flare comes out. Cuzz comes in. I mean, they're all just greeting for vision that is luxurious in nature.
Yeah.
And they're getting punished for it, but it probably doesn't feel too fun with what's going on. You know that Faker's going to push top lane. You're going to surrender the Mountain Drake anyway.
Yeah. And the Zoe, you remember the Zoe was the last pick. It feels really fantastic when you're ahead. As Spirit actually is able to hop away from the kick. So, you talked about Nidalee not caring about Lee Sin. There's another good example, just in a very small microcosm of the game.
The other thing is that once she has Zanya's Hourglass, she's not really a kick target. You can't kick Nautilus, you can't kick Urgot. It's really hard to kick Zoe or Aphelios, because you'll just get locked up in your attempt to do it, or you'll get put to sleep.
Yeah, and Mystic has Cleanse, so worst case scenario, Cleanse Flash. Like, you're still... It's still not going to be, you know, you win the game with your kick flash.
And red side Lee Sin is also much harder to make work. This is also a problem that many other champions have on red side, most notably red side Cannon. It's harder to find flanks, harder to find angles to get behind the opponent, whereas blue side Lee Sin, you can, I wish I could draw on the minimap right now, you can utilize much more of the jungle.
Oh boy, here we go. Fear Beyond Death, they're just chomping him down from such long range, and they don't even need that ultimate. Mystic just going to walk forward, and T1 kind of, you know, the game's not over, but it feels like they're just defeated at every turn. Everybody's getting picked left and right, and the amount of pick that this Afreeca comp, I kind of underestimated it before seeing it. It's pretty intense, especially when T1 are just running in, trying to secure some kind of vision from behind, but failing.
Well, okay. The gold lead extends to 3,000, but remember, the Mountain and the Infernal is adding a couple hundred gold to everyone. And Canna just trying to shove in bot lane, but he can't really move Urgot. So definitely a bit of a problem. We're back in early 2019 here.
Yeah. See the turret health. It's like kind of showing you the story of that.
The only way... Oh, Mystic might have to... No, he's not going to have to flash. Mystic just needs to be very careful. He swaps over to Crescendum. And now back to Caitlyn.
Yeah.
We can, you know, I mean, he's Chameleon. So, did you ever play Mortal Kombat?
Yeah.
Okay, he's Chameleon.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Max, you know, kind of leaving me alone there on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
He didn't get
so.
it?
If I remember
He wasn't a Mortal Kombat guy?
Yeah, he was not a Mortal Kombat guy. So, Aphelios is definitely Chameleon. Yeah.
I could see it. He does so many great things, and he looks great.
Yeah.
Against melee champions. That's for sure.
And, I mean, Chameleon had his weaknesses.
True. I don't remember
Female
what they were.
Was, right? The female ninja Chameleon?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I'm actually blanking.
Yeah. Either way, you talked about how important these mountain drakes were. The first one was taken because Cuzz kind of died after trying to take down the Vision.
Yeah.
We have another one coming here in 30 seconds, and you can see that T1 is more careful about it because they have to know if they go down 2, it's like pretty much just let's start talking about game 2.
Because
wow.
And, you know, good intention. He's hoping to try to get something. You got to be real careful against that gun setup that Aphelios has right now. He's just getting himself a shield. He swaps over to Twitch.
Yeah. Did you see them both try to ultimate Mystic and they didn't even make it through the shield?
Yeah.
Well, there's the engage. It did. And
that's very big.
Cuzz is able to hop away.
And
Afreeca still have position though on the Drake.
They're going to hold a phalanx right now and just move into the mountain.
Yeah.
And as long as you protect Mr. 200, everything is going to be A-okay. And again, Mystic, yes, Twitch enable.
It's going to be an easy take. And already, that's going to come into effect for the potential fight that's going to break out here. T1 really want to take a fight
I don't know what T1 are hoping to achieve here.
They're desperate for a fight, but look at this. Trying to fight front to back, but Canna's got a pretty decent angle here. Ben does have to get away as...
Oh,
like that. Okay. He is going to have to flash the wall just to get away, and just barely not able to land that one was Fly. And after all of that, they're not able to really secure any kills. Leona's ultimate still on cooldown. Looks like T1 will just look to take this mid-tier 1.
T1's going to get the mid-tier 1, but it was another mountain going over, so Soul Point is being threatened. And with 12% amp, these champions that are squishies are starting to become almost off-tanks. So
Aphelios the off-tank with Death Stance. Seems good.
Well, 4 minutes until that mountain comes up.
I want to see some of the tanky boys in their lineup.
Let's take a look at this team fight. So, we said that Mystic had Twitch enabled, and obviously I'm referring to the Crescendum is available. And so you have to be really careful. Now remember, Fear Beyond Death was not available here. Neither was Nautilus Ultimate. And so they land the hook onto Effort. And Canna, he was doing a really good job with a lot of his knockups. Spirit actually missed his flight. Doesn't really matter all that much. Fly hits the sleep on Faker, but Ben just barely missed the dredge line. Still got the flash out of Karma. She won't have that now for the next Mountain Drake fight. And that's going to be really, really scary. And also, we see Faker actually deviating even further away from the AP Karma, which I think would have been really necessary, but he can't really get... I mean, he would have to go Void Staff at this point, which he probably thinks that he can't go into. And so he's going to get the Ardent Sensor to try to put some more faith in his teammates, but the issue is that who's really making use of Ardent Sensor? Aatrox is... I mean, he's autoing sometimes, sure.
It's kind of like a rhetorical question, almost. Teddy's going to mostly be poking from range.
Caitlyn, currently enabled.
Yes, that's Caitlyn. Who's the Infernum? Is that like Sivir or something? Like,
ooh, the red one? Jinx.
The red? No, not the red one. That's Severum. The blue one.
Blue one?
Yeah, like the AoE one. Where you, is that like Tristana?
Blue, no, yeah, sure.
Tristana, where it's like
one,
you can AoE. And
Oh no,
Okay, they're gonna burn the flash and the cleanse here, but still having trouble getting on top of that champion, as down will go the Leona just like that. The follow-up there was pretty intense. It was 4v5, by the way, as they're able to pull that off. And now Canna in a bit of trouble. Fear Beyond Death is going to be flashed. But Kiin still full health, and they have GLP. Oh man,
gone.
He's dead. See ya. Down he does go. That's 2 for none right away. And they pretty much can do whatever they want. I think they'll just run at the Baron and try to zone away Cuzz.
Well, now they're going to go over to the Baron. They're going to kill the Blast Cone. They're not Fnatic. You can watch them play later on tonight. As Cuzz does manage to at least get the flash out of Fly. Oh, man.
What is going on? It's like one auto over the wall. Cuzz is able to get a little bit of health back. All these Fear Beyonds.
Not a good look.
Yeah.
It's not a good look.
This is not, yeah. I don't know. Urgot's still strong, but you got to hit some of those abilities.
This is the one way to lose the game, by the way, because there's 45 seconds till Mountain. They could just stop it, back up, let it reset.
Don't even.
Go to Mountain. There's... Kiin, honestly, Kiin is such a nice guy. He is not trying to...
Excellent fellow.
Yeah.
Urgot, well, he had the first blood king, so we'll give that to him. That one landed. You know, honestly, I think Fly just needs to sleep more targets, and then and maybe it'll look a little bit better.
And I mean, let's take a look at this. They go in on Aphelios, but what are you gonna do? He has the double Mountain right now. He also has the Depth Dance. He ends up whiffing the Moonlight Vigil, but it just doesn't matter. He's all the way back to full HP. There's just no way to realistically engage. It's so unrealistic, and I love the unironic comments that sometimes get made where people will say that the players aren't robots. You're damn right they're not robots, which is why T1 can't find an opening.
All right, well that's gonna go the way of Afreeca, and they pick up the Mountain Soul. Cuzz desperately trying to get onto Mystic. He survives for so long. How is he not dead? Finally, 1,000 gold is going to go the way of Canna, but it just doesn't matter. All of Aphelios' friends are there to back him up. They're going to beat up the bullies and try to take him down as Teddy is okay. Spirit getting pretty feisty. Doesn't quite land it there, but it does not matter. As Afreeca pick up the Mountain Soul, they take out the jungler, and maybe now they'll take the Baron.
Well, with Mountain Soul, it's going to be near impossible. Ezreal can't shoot through anything anymore. Nidalee heals, plus the passive from Soul constantly coming up. There's really no hope. The only out is some sort of a miracle Elder Dragon steal into a teamfight win. Now let's just take a look at this. As everyone guns for Aphelios, and Mystic just keeps healing, and he's so tanky. By the way, 18% damage to his resistances. And Canna, honestly, he's doing a really good job this game. He's trying his best, given the circumstances. Teddy also doing really good. But it's just such a hard deficit to try to overcome. Yeah. Rabadon's death cap almost completed for Zoe.
And after seeing that replay, I feel like I can hear through the internet, maybe I'm connected through my headphones, I can hear people saying, oh my god, Aphelios is so broken.
Yeah.
How is this champion allowed in the game? What have you done, Riot? As I watch Effort, Cuzz, and Canna desperately try to get in melee range, and like, he's already 5-1 with 4 items and a Mountain Soul. Like, of course you're not going to be able to kill him. It was hard to do it in the early game too. And that's why drafts matter, boys and girls.
Well, they had a window to try to get ahead this game, and it would have been early and mid.
Effort's dead. Just a side casualty going down, I could say.
There's not a real way to resist this. Mystic, right now, he has Twitch enabled. And so, combat.
They're just going straight down.
Swaps over to Caitlyn.
They don't even need Baron. They're so tanky. All of Teddy's poke is negated. And he's really the only one poking. And there is the pick. And there is the kill. This game might just be over as Mystic still full health. He's beginning to just Tristana down a couple people in their base. And yeah, they're just going to go for it here. We do see the respawns trying to come in, but they don't have Ezreal, and he was their only hope. And that's going to do it. Mystic just going to take down yet another kill. And that will be the end of the game. They're not going to focus down the Nexus. They want to pad their KDAs because who wouldn't want to? But there you go. GG, 14-2 was the kills. We